I was on duty when my family group chat started panicking about the news. I work security at a remote research facility about 2 hours outside Denver, mostly 12-hour night shifts watching survey. I worked the night shift at a remote research facility about 2 hours outside Denver. The job paid well enough to keep me in my apartment and put a little away each month. My 12-hour shifts on Thursdays were usually the quietest, just me and a skeleton crew of scientists working late. The facility was isolated by design. Cell service was spotty at best, and our internet access was heavily filtered. Management called it security protocols, but it mostly felt like being cut off from the world. Around 11 p.m., my phone started buzzing in my pocket. I pulled it out to see 47 unread messages from our family group chat. All of them had come through in the last 10 minutes. I scrolled up to the first message from my sister Kendra, time-stamped 11:03 p.m. Trevor, are you at work? Please respond as soon as possible. The messages that followed grew increasingly frantic. Kendra was asking if I was safe. Marcus wanted to know if I could leave immediately. Mom was threatening to call the police if I didn't respond within 10 minutes. I tried calling Kendra first. The call failed to connect. I tried Marcus next with the same result. Mom's number wouldn't go through either. I typed out a quick response. I'm fine. What's going on? Why is everyone freaking out? The message showed as undelivered. The signal bars on my phone had dropped to nothing. The landline. Every security station had one for emergencies. I picked up the receiver and heard nothing. No dial tone, just dead silence. I pulled up the external security camera feeds on my monitor. Everything looked normal outside. The perimeter fence was secure, and the surrounding forest was still. I tried accessing news websites on my work computer, but most were blocked by our filters. The few government sites I could reach showed nothing unusual. My phone buzzed again. More messages were trickling through despite the poor connection. I caught fragments about evacuation orders and something about a 50-mile radius around the facility. Marcus had written that Dad was driving out to find me. That didn't make sense. Dad knew better than to drive 2 hours in the middle of the night to a secure facility where he couldn't even get past the gate. One message from Mom caught my eye. The news is saying the facility is melting down. Run, Trevor. Melting down? We weren't a nuclear plant. Something was very wrong. I decided to find Dave, my supervisor. He'd know what was happening. I locked my station and headed to the main security office. Dave's office was empty. His coffee cup was still warm on the desk, and his computer was logged in. He'd left in a hurry. I checked the parking lot cameras. Dave's car was gone. So were most of the staff vehicles that had been there an hour ago. Only mine and 2 others remained. I tried using my keycard to access the research wings. The doors stayed locked, red lights flashing on the electronic panels. That had never happened before. I noticed something else strange too. No emergency alarms were sounding. No evacuation protocols had been initiated. If there was a serious problem, why wasn't the system alerting us? My phone vibrated with a voice message from Mom. I pressed play and heard her sobbing. Trevor, please run. Get out now. Whatever they're saying, it's worse. Just run. I grabbed my keys and headed for my car. Whatever was happening, I needed to get outside the facility and find a better signal. The drive to the main gate took less than 2 minutes. As I approached, my headlights illuminated something that made me slam on the brakes. Military vehicles were blocking the access road. A soldier approached my car with his hand on his weapon. I rolled down my window. Facility ID, he demanded. I showed him my security badge. His expression changed immediately. He stepped back and spoke into his radio. Sir, we have security personnel still inside the facility. Turn around and return to the building immediately, he ordered me. What's going on? I asked. Why is the military here? He raised his weapon slightly. Return to the facility now. That's an order. I put the car in reverse and started backing up. As I turned around, I looked back at the facility behind me. What I saw made my blood run cold. I tried my keycard on the research wing doors again. The access panel flashed red. Something was definitely wrong. The system was designed to default to open during emergencies, not lock people in. I looked around for any sign of what was happening. No alarm bells were ringing. No emergency lights flashed in the hallways. The automated evacuation message wasn't playing over the PA system. It made no sense. If there was a serious problem, why wasn't the emergency system activated? I headed to the security monitoring room where Jamal should be on duty. The door was unlocked, and I found him hunched over the main console. His head snapped up when I walked in. Trevor, what are you still doing here? His voice cracked slightly. I could ask you the same thing. What's going on? My family's freaking out about some emergency. Dave's gone, and most of the staff cars are missing. Jamal's eyes darted to the monitor, then back to me. I don't know anything about an emergency. Maybe it's a false alarm. I stepped closer and saw what he was doing. He was systematically deleting security footage from the system logs. The timestamp showed recordings from the past 6 hours. Why are you erasing security footage? I asked. Jamal's shoulders slumped. Devin told me to. Said it was a direct order from above. Devin, the lead scientist? He doesn't have authority over security protocols. Jamal looked miserable. He said it was classified, that I'd lose my job if I didn't comply. I pushed him aside and stopped the deletion process. Something's very wrong here. The military is outside, blocking the exit roads. His eyes widened. Military? No one told me anything about that. I left Jamal and hurried back to Dave's office. His computer was still logged in. I pulled up the facility status reports, searching for anything about an evacuation. What I found made my blood run cold. There was a classified report about an experimental energy project. Something had gone catastrophically wrong with it around midnight. The reactor core was showing dangerous radiation level spikes. The readings were off the charts. I scrolled through more documents and found an evacuation order that had been issued 3 hours ago. The order specifically excluded security personnel. We were deliberately kept in the dark to maintain perimeter control. They'd left us here to die. I printed out the radiation reports and stuffed them in my pocket. I needed evidence of what they'd done. The emergency equipment locker was in the main security office. I grabbed a radiation detector, a respirator mask, and a first aid kit. The detector immediately started clicking, confirming my worst fears. I ran to my car, tossing the equipment on the passenger seat. I had to get out and warn others. The main access road was blocked, but I knew a service road that might not be guarded yet. I drove as fast as I dared through the facility grounds. The service road came into view, and for a moment I thought I might make it. Then I saw the military vehicles blocking that exit too. I slammed on the brakes as a soldier approached. He was more heavily armed than the others, with tactical gear and a commanding presence. The name on his uniform read, Malik. He rapped on my window with his knuckles. Facility ID, he demanded. I handed over my security badge. His expression hardened as he examined it. Security personnel, he said into his radio. We have another one trying to leave. Another one? There were others who had tried to escape? Turn your vehicle around immediately, Malik ordered. Return to the main building. There's radiation leaking in there, I protested. They evacuated everyone but security. They left us to die. Malik's expression didn't change. Those are my orders, sir. Return to the facility or we will use force. I gripped the steering wheel tightly. My family knows I'm here. They're already contacting authorities. Sir, there are no authorities above us right now. This is a national security matter. Last warning, return to the building. I put the car in reverse, my mind racing. As I turned around, I noticed something strange through the trees. Military personnel in hazmat suits were setting up a perimeter of equipment around the entire facility. They weren't just keeping people out. They were containing whatever was happening inside. I drove slowly back toward the main building, watching in my rearview mirror as Malik spoke urgently into his radio. Whatever was going on, it was worse than I'd imagined. As I approached the facility, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. A faint blue glow was emanating from the research wing windows. It pulsed slightly, like a heartbeat. My phone buzzed with another message. It was from Dad. Trevor, I'm coming to get you. I know that place. I know what they're doing there. How could Dad know anything about this place? He'd never mentioned any connection to it before. I parked near the main entrance, wondering what to do next. A black SUV pulled up beside me. A woman in a dark suit stepped out and approached my window. Trevor Phillips? She asked. I'm Eliza Hammond, government liaison. We need to talk about what's happening inside. I showed my security badge to Malik. His eyes widened as he examined it. You're still inside? How many others are left? His voice had an edge of panic. I don't know. I've only seen Jamal in the monitoring room. I tried to keep my voice steady. Malik stepped back and spoke urgently into his radio. Command, we have security personnel attempting exit. Subject confirms others still inside facility perimeter. A crackled response came through that I couldn't make out. Malik's expression hardened. Return to the main building immediately. This is a direct order. He raised his weapon slightly. Not until someone tells me what's happening. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. Why is the military surrounding a research facility? Malik's jaw clenched. This is not a negotiation. Return now or we will use force. I put the car in reverse but didn't move. My family knows I'm here. They're seeing news reports about some kind of emergency. Sir, I am authorized to disable your vehicle if necessary. His finger moved closer to the trigger. I slowly backed up, keeping my eyes on him. This was beyond any security protocol I'd ever trained for. A black SUV with government plates pulled up beside Malik. A woman in a dark suit stepped out and approached his position. They spoke briefly. Malik seemed to be arguing, but the woman's expression remained firm. She finally nodded toward my car. She walked over as Malik stepped back. Trevor Phillips? I'm Eliza Hammond, government containment specialist. Containment? The word made my skin crawl. I need you to park your vehicle and come with me. I'll explain what I can. Her tone left no room for argument. I followed her to the SUV. She opened the passenger door and gestured for me to get in. What's happening at the facility? I asked as she started driving toward the main building. Eliza's hands tightened on the wheel. At approximately 10:38 p.m., there was a catastrophic containment breach in the Experimental Energy Division. Energy Division? I thought this was a biological research facility. That's what they'd told all security personnel during orientation. That was the cover story. She glanced at me. The facility was testing dimensional portal technology, highly classified. My mind reeled. Portal technology? Like science fiction? The science is very real. Her voice was grim. The breach released an unknown type of radiation. We're still assessing the full impact. We approached the main building. I noticed hazmat-suited figures moving equipment around the perimeter. The researchers who were exposed, she hesitated. They're showing signs of cognitive alterations. Their brain patterns have changed dramatically. I thought about Dave's empty office, the warm coffee cup. Altered how? Increased neural activity in regions typically dormant in humans. They're experiencing something we don't understand yet. The news reports my family had seen suddenly made sense. So the facility isn't actually melting down? Not in the nuclear sense, no. Eliza parked near the main entrance, but the government needed a familiar crisis model for the public. It's easier to evacuate people for a radiation leak than to explain interdimensional energy containment failure. I looked toward the research wing. A faint blue-purple glow pulsed through the windows. What is that light? I asked. Energy discharge from the breach point. It's growing. She checked her watch. The radiation levels are climbing faster than our models predicted. As we stepped out of the SUV, I saw it clearly. A translucent dome of energy was forming over the research building. It shimmered and pulsed like a living thing. My God. I stared at the dome. How far will it spread? That's what we don't know. Eliza's voice was tight. Current projections suggest it could expand to cover a 50-mile radius within 24 hours. The exact evacuation zone my family had mentioned. This was real. Why am I here? Why not just let me leave with everyone else? I asked. Because we need someone who knows the facility systems. She handed me a tablet showing facility schematics. The core needs to be manually shut down. All remote attempts have failed. I scrolled through the shutdown procedure. It was complex but doable. Why me? Why not the scientists who actually understand this technology? The exposed researchers can't be trusted. Their priorities have shifted. She looked directly at me. You haven't been exposed to the radiation yet. Your mind is still your own. The implications hit me hard. You want me to go in there and shut it down, even though you know it's dangerous? I'll guide you through it remotely. She pointed to specialized equipment being unloaded from another vehicle. We have protective suits that should shield you from the worst effects. I thought about my family's panicked messages, about Dad driving out to find me. What happens if I say no? I already knew the answer. Then we wait for the dome to expand, and millions of people will be exposed to radiation we don't understand. Eliza's expression softened slightly. I know this isn't fair, but you're our best option right now. I looked at the pulsing dome again. It had grown visibly larger just in the minutes we'd been talking. I'll do it, I said finally, but I need to send a message to my family first. Eliza nodded. Make it quick. We don't have much time. I pulled out my phone, surprised to find a single bar of service. I typed a message to the family chat. I'm okay, helping fix the situation. Tell Dad not to come. Love you all. I hit send and watched the message status. After a few seconds, it showed as delivered. Let's go, I said, turning to Eliza. Show me these protective suits. Eliza handed me a specialized radiation protection suit. It looked like something from a sci-fi movie, with reinforced seams and a full-face respirator. Put this on. It should shield you from the worst effects. She helped me adjust the straps. We suited up quickly and entered the facility through the main doors. The interior was eerily quiet. Emergency lights cast a dim glow across the empty hallways. The control room is in the lower level of the research wing. Eliza's voice sounded hollow through her mask. We need to move fast. The radiation detector in my hand clicked steadily as we approached the research wing. The clicking grew faster near the doors leading to the central lab. Devin should be in there, Eliza said. He was the last one to communicate with our team before communications went dark. We pushed through the doors into the control room. The blue-purple light was much stronger here, pulsing from equipment I'd never seen before. Devin stood at the main console, his back to us. He wasn't wearing any protective gear. Devin? I called out. We need to shut down the core. He turned slowly. His eyes had a strange luminescence to them, glowing with the same blue-purple light as the equipment. Trevor, how nice of you to join us for the convergence. His voice had an unnatural cadence. Isn't it beautiful? The radiation is affecting him, Eliza whispered. His mind has been altered. Devin smiled serenely. Altered? No, evolved. I can see everything now. The barriers between dimensions are so thin, so permeable. He gestured toward the pulsing light. This is humanity's evolutionary leap forward. We shouldn't stop it. I moved closer to the control terminal. Devin, that dome is expanding. It could kill millions of people. Death is just transition. He stepped between me and the console. I can't let you interfere with something so magnificent. I looked at Eliza. She nodded slightly. I lunged forward and tackled Devin to the floor. He was surprisingly strong, fighting with unnatural vigor. The terminal! Get to the terminal! I shouted to Eliza as I pinned Devin down. I used my security restraints to bind Devin's hands. He laughed, a sound that made my skin crawl even through the protective suit. You can't stop what's coming, he said. None of us can. I secured Devin to a support column and joined Eliza at the control terminal. The system was already displaying warning messages about critical containment failure. I'm starting the emergency shutdown sequence. I began typing in the commands Eliza had shown me. The screen flashed red. Access denied. Secondary authorization required. It needs 2 authorization codes, I said. Do you have clearance? Eliza shook her head. I don't. We didn't anticipate this level of security. The dome was visibly larger now, expanding faster than before. We were running out of time. We need to find someone else with authorization, I said, feeling panic rise in my chest. The door to the control room burst open. A figure in a hazmat suit rushed in, followed by 2 soldiers. The figure removed their helmet. It was my father. Dad? I couldn't believe my eyes. How did you get past the military perimeter? Die. I know this place better than they do. He moved quickly to the terminal. I worked here 30 years ago when they first started the dimensional research. He looked at the screen. I can help with that authorization code. You have clearance? Eliza asked, clearly surprised. Dad nodded. My credentials were never fully removed from the system. Old security oversight. He typed rapidly on the keyboard. The screen flashed green for his entry. Now you, he said to me. Use your security clearance. I entered my code. The system accepted it with a soft beep. Emergency shutdown sequence initiated. Containment protocols engaging. The pulsing light began to dim. The dome outside visibly flickered. We need to get out now, Dad said urgently. When the core shuts down completely, the final containment protocols will seal this entire section. We grabbed Devin, who was now unconscious, and dragged him toward the exit. The facility's emergency systems began blaring warnings about imminent lockdown. We made it outside just as the dome collapsed completely. A wave of energy pulsed outward, then dissipated into nothing. Eliza's radio crackled with reports from the perimeter teams. The radiation levels were dropping rapidly. You did it, she said, removing her helmet. The containment worked. 3 days later, I sat with my family in Marcus's living room. Kendra hugged me for the 5th time that hour. Mom couldn't stop crying. I still can't believe you never told us you worked at that place, Marcus said to Dad. Dad looked down at his hands. It was classified. I signed documents that prevented me from talking about it. But you knew what they were doing there, I said. You knew it was dangerous. He nodded slowly. That's why I panicked when your mother said you were working there, history repeating itself. A government car pulled up outside. Eliza stepped out and approached the door. They want me to join a new containment team, I told my family, to monitor other facilities like that one. Mom grabbed my hand. Please don't. I thought about the blue-purple light, about Devin's altered mind, about how close we'd come to catastrophe. I already told them no. I squeezed Mom's hand. Some secrets should stay buried. The facility was permanently decommissioned the following week. The government declared the entire area a restricted zone indefinitely. We moved to Oregon a month later. Dad found work teaching physics at a community college. I took a security job at a shopping mall. Sometimes I still dream about that pulsing light and what might have happened if we hadn't stopped it. But mostly, I'm just grateful for second chances.